Hi, everyone. It is Kimber, the study abroad specialist here. I hope that you are doing well. I am actually on vacation this week, but I wanted to come on really quickly and do a video for you, obviously off camera this week. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the benefits of high school study abroad. So, this is a question that I get quite a bit, and in the upcoming videos that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be diving deeper specifically into high school study abroad. So, talking about some of the different types of programs, like I've done for study abroad for college students, and talking about some of the sort of price points for high school study abroad, and thinking about some of the opportunities specifically for people who are in high school but still want to get some study abroad experience. But today I wanted to just run through five of the main benefits of high school study abroad. So, when we're thinking about study abroad in general, especially here in America and other parts of the West, we often connect it specifically to college students. And so, you will hear so much about it, whether you're looking at my blog or my videos or other people's, where people will talk about their experience studying abroad, primarily in their junior year of college, or maybe their second year if they're in other parts of the world where they, sort of did 4 to 6 months in another country. Or maybe you have people like me who also did grad school abroad. So someone who was much older, again, after graduating out of college. But a really sort of way to study abroad that is not connected to college is, you can actually study abroad from even younger than that. There are some programs for kids who are, even in like fourth or fifth grade, actually. But with high schoolers particularly, it's a great opportunity to do it because, you're still kind of figuring out life. You don't know what you want to do. You may or may not be on the path to college just yet, and you want to get some experience before you even start applying to colleges. So, and going through the benefits here, we're going to talk about just some of the kind of main ones. And then, as I said, throughout the next couple of weeks, I will be posting some videos specifically for high schoolers thinking about study abroad. So, the first benefit for high school travel programs or high school study abroad would be the exposure to new cultures at a young age. So, that is one of the primary reasons why students choose to study abroad in general, is that they want exposure to new cultures. But I think that there's something to be said for doing it when you're still in that sort of age range where you're very impressionable. And by this time in your life, it doesn't matter what country you grew up in, you've sort of been able to form sort of these ideas and often, unfortunately, these stereotypes of what other cultures are like. And even with the rise of social media and these online platforms where you get more exposure to different people, it's not the same as being able to sort of live in a different country and have the chance to truly experience what it means to be a part of that particular society. And I think that that's going to be something that's going to be even more important as students move forward, particularly with the Gen Z generation, where they really are interested in being able to get exposure to different cultures. I think that that's really important. And so I would encourage any student right now who is between the age of, let's say, 14 and 17 years old to really look into high school travel programs, because it's only going to benefit you in the end to get exposure to those cultures from a young age. And of course, like, you may be in a family where you travel a lot, and that's some exposure, but that's not the same thing as being able to study and live in a place and really get a chance to experience what it's like to live somewhere else. So the next benefit of high school travel programs or high school study abroad would be the challenge of learning in a different academic culture. So we talk about this as well when we're thinking about studying abroad as a college student, right? But the thing is that at the high school level, you probably have still been in the same process that you've been in, from a young age. Whereas like when you go to college, depending on where you go, what state or what country you're going to for college, it can be a lot different. So this is probably your first exposure of learning more about what it means to study in a different academic culture. So if you look back on a video from a couple weeks ago where I talked about my experience of thinking about whether or not college level classes are harder in a different country or not, this sort of applies to high school as well, because you're really just thinking about, like, there are different standards for high school level kids, or secondary level kids if you're in other parts of the world, like what that actually means and what those challenges will be. And I think that if you are someone who you're, looking to go to college, and maybe in college you also want to study abroad, that this is going to be a great way to kind of segue into that, because it's only going to make you more prepared to sort of understand, like, this is what the expectation is in this different culture. And it's also just going to give you more opportunity to hone your skills. So by the time you do get to college level, you have all this extra knowledge that you can take with you, even if you decide not to study abroad. So for number 3, in terms of the benefits of high school travel programs, I would say that this is definitely something that's going to give you a competitive edge for future college applications in particular. So, as a college student studying abroad, there may or may not be benefits. It depends on, again, what your particular field is that you're going to, what types of jobs you're going after, whether or not you choose to go to grad school. But definitely for students who are at the high school or secondary school level who want to go to college as their next step, this is something that can only benefit you, because, again, compared to college level study abroad, high school level study abroad is not quite as common. Now, there are lots of students that do it, but it's not something that is, sort of normally recognized. And again, kind of at the high school level, it depends on, where you go to school. A lot of private schools here in the US, or a lot of public schools over in the UK and Europe, they have dedicated high school level programs and, sort of gap years and things like that. But if you are in a private level or government funded school, you may not have access to that, and you may not even know that it's available to you. So this is a great way to sort of have more of a competitive edge, and it's going to be something that you can use to talk about in your applications as you apply and in your college interviews. And it's really going to be able to show that you were willing to sort of, step outside of your comfort zone, and that you're willing to try new things, and that you really are dedicated to the rigor of college because you've already done some studies in a different country. So I definitely think that that is something to consider as well. So for number 4, thinking about foreign language immersion opportunities. So this is a huge part of why a lot of students at the high school level actually choose to study abroad during their time. So for foreign language, it's very common for students to be taking foreign language in high school. That's kind of where you first start. Now, it's really interesting. I know for me, and I am not the best person at this time in my life at foreign language, but I started learning, like a lot of kids who are 90s kids, I started learning Spanish using Muzzy when I was, I think, like maybe 6 years old. So very young, because at that time, it was something where a lot of parents were hearing that Spanish was kind of the emerging language. And so we were trying to get ahead of things. And then I had some exposure to French when I was in elementary school, and then a little bit more Spanish in high school, obviously going to high school in California. But, I personally never had an ear for it, at least thus not this far. I keep trying to learn different foreign languages, and I'll keep trying because I think it's a good skill to have. But for students who are very dedicated to that at the high school level, studying abroad only gives you more opportunity to do that. And so this is kind of the point where, particularly for students who are going to be studying in places that are not as common, so whether it be Spain or Cuba or, even France, which is quite common, but, like a place that is really going to challenge you. Again, like if you're a student who, like you really just want to study in London, that's fine. That will work for you if you are, maybe coming from a country that is not English speaking, you want to do that. But this really gives you an opportunity to immerse yourself at that age. And later on in the series, I will talk more about specific programs that target that, because there are lots of independent level programs out there. There may be some schools that are connected to it, but there are lots of independent programs that allow students, high school students, to be able to go abroad for maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're, in a country and you're actually starting to hear other people use the language, and you get to do everything from, going out to order food, to going to the grocery store, to going to the bank, to, sitting in a classroom, and you're surrounded by the language, it starts to help you to sort of bring everything alive from the page that you've been studying in class, but that you actually get to live it. And so this can only improve your skills. And a lot of students that I've worked with in the past that have studied abroad at the high school level have said that this made them just want to continue. So maybe they were in French level 1, and they've been doing that the entire year, and then they got to go abroad during the summer to do an immersion program. And then, they're like, I want to continue French level 2, French level 3, and so on and so forth. And that only gave them the encouragement. Or it could have the flip sort of effect, where it's like, actually, like, I have been doing this for a while. I went and did this immersion program, and now I feel like, maybe I do like Spanish a little bit better than French. I want to change it up some. Or maybe you want to do both. But studying abroad and doing a high school travel program while you're still very young and still able to absorb all of that without any distractions is only going to be a benefit for you. So for my last tip here, to kind of just do this overview of the benefits of high school study abroad, I would say that, number 5 is definitely going to be preparation for student travel later in the future. So I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when we thought about just, particularly your academic career and what you want to do further. And we know that some students, after high school or after secondary school, they're not planning to go to college or university, and that is totally fine. But for students who are planning to take that route, I think that this is something that can only set you up further, because at least from what I've seen, I don't have any specific stats on this, but I know from the students that I have worked with in high school who have then gone on to college, they are more likely to want to study abroad again. And oftentimes they will choose a different country, a different place, but they have often said that, kind of that experience of studying abroad the first time only encouraged them to want to do it. And there's a lot of other sort of factors that would have, come into play, like, the fear of travel, or the fear of assimilating into a country, or, sort of all of this sort of, extra things that sort of stress you out when you're first studying abroad. They don't necessarily have to go through that, because they have been through it, and they went through it at a younger age. And so by the time they're like a junior in high school, or a junior in college, they're like, I have got this. I feel very confident. And it's a great way for them to be able to sort of encourage other people around them. And I think as well, just thinking about the preparation for your college level, it's like maybe you used your high school study abroad to get into college, but now you are trying to set yourself up for, maybe you want to eventually go to grad school abroad like I did, or you want to work abroad, or whatever it is, or maybe you just want another experience like that in the future. Sort of giving yourself that benefit right now while you're in high school is only going to work in your favor, because number one, when admissions teams look at that, they're going to be like, oh, well, this person has already done it. Again, they will feel confident knowing that you are sort of ahead of the game in what you've been doing. And also just the fact that, again, you took the effort. And so it's like, by the time that you get to, your sophomore, junior, senior year, whenever you do it, when you study abroad again, if you choose to, that you will feel that you're making the right choice, and you will know much more of what to expect. And you can just get excited about the fact that you get to have this experience all over again, hopefully in a different country, or at least in a different opportunity, even if you're traveling back to the same place. Okay, everyone. So that is it for this week. A little bit of a shorter video. Like I said, I am traveling, enjoying a little bit of spring break, but I definitely wanted to just bring you this short video and just kind of let you know about the series that's coming up. So if you have not already subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and click and subscribe. I release new videos every Friday, and I talk about everything related to study abroad. Please feel free to go ahead and click on some of the other playlists on this channel as well to get caught up on some of the videos. And there's also some really helpful links down in the description box, including more information about how to book study abroad consulting sessions with me, and also some information on some e-guides as well. So I hope that this has been very beneficial for you, and I will see you next week, next Friday, on another video.